If you wanna know how to play melffy, then you have come to the right place. My name is Saito and welcome to my complete melffy guide. In this video I'll tell you anything you need to know about these little fluff balls and how to use them properly. That being said, let us jump right into the video. So melffy is a series of level 2 beast monsters whose main gimmick is to bounce back to the end whenever your opponent summons a monster or tries to attack them. We have Wally, which summons 2 monsters from the deck. We have Papi, which summons a level 2 or lower beast monster, which can be Calentosa, as it's a pop, or another melffy. Cathy can search for any beast monster, which is Keras, or you can search for a Penny, which is just a free synchro, and same goes for Hopier, but Penny most of the time is way better. And then we have Fanny. Fanny is very bad. If you have any better option, don't use it. Then we have Staring Contest, which is just a searcher. Hide and Seek, which is a protection from card effect. Tag, which is a very bad extender. So if you have like Ghost Trick Shot and the craft points to make 2 Angel of Mischief and Succubus, put them into the extra deck and don't play this shit. And the best cards are by far Obedience Schooled, which summons just 3 monsters from the deck, and You Are Finished, because it's just a better Nibiru when during your opponent's turn, if it's turn 2. It's funny because we are playing Your Finish, because normally it's not a very good card, but because melffy summons so many monsters during your opponent's turn and activate many effects, you can just activate around like 5 effects just by themselves, and your opponent is eventually gonna activate 5 more effects. So you can just go into Your Finished and pop their whole board. We also put a Zap, because you can go with Penny into Ariompos and then banish a Zap. Zap will then summon itself onto the field, and from there you can go into Ascan, or if you have a melffy onto the field or a Calentos or whatever, you can go into Goti of the Deep Beyond. And then we have Valerie Fan, which sucks. It's just an extender. You can go into Joyous Melffys, technically, but it doesn't trigger if you don't have a beast monster already into the graveyard, so it's not very strong. And lastly, let's cover the extra deck. We have Herald of Arclight, which is just an Omni Negate and an amazing one too. You can go from this with Hopier or Penny. We played 3 Hopier because maybe you can open your hand with one of them, and during your opponent's turn, even if you don't trigger anything, you can go into Herald of Arclight. So like if turn 2 your Wally gets impermed, you can Hopier and get an Omni Negate anyway. Then we have Merry Melffy, which is a monster bounce. It's very strong, it's nice. Sometimes it's better to go into Merry than Herald, but it really changes, it depends. Which is nice because you have a variety of options to go into. Then there is Ariompos, which as I said before is a small combo into Deep Beyond or Ascan. And we have F-Zero. You know how F-Zero works, I guess. And the problem is, as I said before, if you don't play with the Ghost Tricks package, it's not very strong, unfortunately. So if you have 60 more UR craft points, go get 2 Angels of Mischief, 1 Ghost Trick Shot, and 1 Succubus, and you can remove Link Rebo, Mannequin Cat, and Ronin Raccoon Sandayo, because they're not very strong, though they do have some usage sometimes. For example, Ronin Raccoon can just out any big beat stick, so like a 6k arrival, who haven't seen a 6k arrival, or a obelisk, you know, if your opponent decides to play obelisk. Or even worse, if your opponent decides to summon Ra turn 1, how are you gonna defeat that if not with Ronin Raccoon, you know? Then we have Mannequin Cat, which can summons back Maxi, and from there you can go into any melffy you want, and it's very good. Or you can go into Keras. Keras, as I said before, it's for Shuraig or Fergit. And then we have Linkuriba, which is for Nerval, Joyous Melffys for Obedience Schooled, and in general it's very strong. And lastly we have Melffy of the Forest. It's not a very strong UR, you can decide not to craft it. It can be strong sometimes, so if you wanna play a budget version, don't play this card. But you can still play it, because it can search for a hide and seek, it can search for a wally, and overall it's very nice. However, if you have more craft points, you can go for Alpha, because it's very strong, and it can be searched with Melffy Catty. And yeah, that's it. Just in case, you can replace Melffy Tag with Alpha, and maybe you can decide not to play one you're finished, but you can search it, of course, so it's better if you play 3 copies, but it's up to you. After all, it's not that there are many decks who play with like 3 you're finished, because it's not a good card when you don't play Melffy. Our first match is up against Heroes, and our hand is looking nice. So, it's pretty straightforward. We normal summon Catty, activate the steering contest, put back the puppy, search for Wally, and lastly we summon Wally and set you're finished. Now we can go into so many interruptions. They use, you know, they summon the Stratos, we use Catty to search for Penny, Wally bounce back, summons Penny and Puppy. They use Dark Calling, hold on, they just searched fucking Elemental Hero Neos, and they summon Malicious Bane. Our Melffys will just run away, summon Calentosa which pops the Stratos, they use the effect, normal summon fucking Avian, and go into the battle phase. We reveal 5 with Staring Contest, and yeah, we can just activate your finished, and it's done. We could have also gone into Ariompos, Merry Melffys, an Omnigate, but we just didn't need to. Our second match is up against... it's kind of hard to explain, okay? But we bricked. So yeah, that's the problem with this deck. We can just set hide and seek, and yeah. Our opponent luckily also bricked, and okay. It's their turn, and they activate the bike. Now that's a problem, but luckily we have Ash, so we get to live another turn. We grab Puppy. Puppy is an actual good card. Since they don't know what deck does, we can just avoid a Maxi. Now they activate back again, and we can't interrupt this one. They will search, you know, the normal stuff. For some reason, they summon Shatana, I guess. They chain Maxi to our Puppy, we get to summon Catty. Now we have Penny. Unfortunately, it goes into 2 draws, because they are 2 separate summons, so we gave them 3 cards already. But it's fine. We can summon Merry Melffys to bounce back the, you know, I don't know the name. They summon Monk, now activate the Shuda, and now we can summon You're Finished. Now, from this position, the moment they activate any card or effect, we can just chain You're Finished to pop their entire board. This is amazing. Now, they decided to Pendulum Summon, and they summon... what the fuck is this? Darkness of the Young Zing and Ecclesia. They will activate Ecclesia, summon Taya. Taya will try to activate, but we can just trigger You're Finished, we pop the entire board, and they scoop. Very amazing replay, very fun to play with You're Finished, and we didn't even had to have fun with our Goatee. So very nice, very fun to play, and yeah. Our third match is up against Dark Magician, I mean, sort of, because they failed to do a lot of stuff, also thanks to us. But luckily they bricked, so they do circle, grab circle, and end phase. Our hand is simply amazing, we have literally everything. We use Obedient School, the summon 3 from the deck, then use Staring Contest, put back the Calentosa, grab a penny, even though we didn't even need to. Now we can go into Joyous Melffy, normal summon the penny, and go for a Melffy of the Forest to grab the Hide and Seek, which gives us protection from a possible Raigeki. Now we can summon the Wally, the Catty, and we didn't even need to set the tag. And they set one, get nothing, and Harpy. Now they send the Timeus, summon. We can activate both of our Melffys, and we can trigger what Melffy of the Forest does. So now it can't attack and has its effect negated. We use Joyous Melffys to summon the Calentosa, pop, and now we have a Keras for our next turn that will be able to summon a Shureg. Then we can grab a Wally, use Keras to banish 2, and we can summon Perigi. We go into Shureg for a free banish, they fucking ashed the Perigi, okay. Now we can summon Wally, go into a Ronin for a 3k beat stick, and just a Joyous Melffy, and we are done for game. It was a very easy match also because they didn't break, it was mostly to show what the deck can possibly do. And a non-targeting banish, some pops, some possible negates and goatee stuff, that's a lot of stuff we can do. Our final match is against King Sarcophagus, and this was a hell of a match. It was very fun, even though we have won just thanks to our opponent making a couple of misplays. Anyway, we summon Wally, and face we special summon Catty. Now, our opponent uses, the same King Sarcophagus bullshit. So, discards a lot of cards, dump a lot of stuff, and they just end up with their 4 big juicy monsters. We can activate Wally and Catty, search for Penny, summon both Puppy and Penny. Now, if they tried to steal our Puppy, it would have been a best choice, but grabbing 2 cards is still pretty good for them. Anyway, they drew an Ash, so doesn't really matter. Anyway, they summon their 4 guys, we make Penny run away, and this guy just summoned Maxi for BMing, and it did not turn well for him. We can just summon Ariampos, now we can banish Zep, Zep summons onto the field, and we can just go into a Deep Beyond and just banish it all. Also, we can just banish our Ariampos, grab a Zep, and yeah. 1 card in hand, and a dream that we are going to shatter. We summon our Deep Beyond, we can then banish our Zep, so we can banish Ariampos and put the big fish to 4k. Now we use tag, go into Ronin Sandayo, and get our 4k beat stick, and that seems about game to me. That was such a hell of a match, I really enjoyed it. Melffy is such a fun deck, man, I really can't. So let's talk about the pros of this deck. The first thing is the card advantage. This deck can go like +6 on your opponent's turn, so that's very good. You can search like 1000 beast monsters and then go into Deep Beyond or whatever. Another thing is how many interruptions you can go into. You can choose to go into an Omni Negate, a Bounce, and your opponent doesn't know. Like you can put them onto the field at any time you want. So it's not that they can just decide to interrupt you. Even because stuff like Penny just activates from the hand. So you can't even imperm preemptively or stuff like that. You can just do that. And lastly, people just don't know what this deck does. So even at good levels, many people will just imperm your Wally turn 1 for no reason. Or you just, if they maxi the moment you summon a Melffy, a normal summon Melffy, you can just decide not to summon the other Melffys during the end phase. Because something I forgot to say is that they can just summon themselves onto the field, and that's very good. And for the cons, there's so much to say. First of all, this deck breaks so often. There are so many openings where you can just do anything. You have to play with so many garnets, like you're finished without any follow-up is useless. Zap alone is useless. There is tag, there is hide and seek, there is hop here. There is so much stuff that does nothing if you just open with it. Another thing is that it's very weak to removals. A Raigeki, if you don't have hide and seek, destroys you. Absolutely. Maybe if you have joyous melffies, you can protect yourself with, from a targeting effect. I guess fine, but they could chain. No, never mind. My bad. But still, you can be very, very vulnerable to any kind of disruption. So it's very bad. The third cons is that you can't go first. I mean, you can't go second. If you go first, you can put a couple monsters onto the field, but going second, you explode. You die to any kind of negate, any kind of interruption whatsoever. So, yeah, that's the problem with it. And lastly, it does not have any kind of OTK capability. Your strongest beatstick is a fucking 2k Joyous Melffies. That's how bad we are. This deck is so bad that you normally use your finished as your beatstick instead of setting it back. That's how bad we are. It's tragic. You normally end with like 3 turns because even if your opponent does nothing, you can't just OTK. Unless maybe you get a big goatee, I guess, or an Ascan because it's it's kind of big. But yeah, this deck, I mean, yeah, you can also consider using Ronin Raccoon and Shureg, but most of the time you just can't OTK, and that's terrible. But it's a very fun rogue deck to play. It's not very expensive, unless you play with the Ghost Trick engine, and you can remove at least one year finished, because it's, I get it, you don't want to craft fucking your finished, I get it. And yeah, I'll keep making these YouTube videos because I really am enjoying Master Duel and other games like Genshin Impact and also Wuthering Waves. I just tried it out, it's been very fun, so expect some videos for that game too. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, the subscribe button. If you really did enjoy the video, don't feel forced to. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!